Hi, this is Bryan Crabtree from WTMA's The Bryan Crabtree Real Estate Show on Saturdays. You can hear the show at 8 o'clock on Saturday mornings, live on 1250 AM radio or WTMA.com. Today we're going to talk about short sales in this short video, and we're going to accomplish four things. Number one, what is a short sale and how are they going these days? And you may have heard recently on some of my radio programs about the $2,500 to $30,000 in relocation assistance that many banks are now offering. We're going to describe that to you and tell you how you might qualify. Also, how does your credit get affected in a short sale? And how long does it take? And the fourth thing that we're going to cover short in this video is, will I get released from the remaining debt if I do a short sale? So let's start back at the beginning, the $2,500 to $30,000 in relocation assistance. So what is that? Banks are now offering the opportunity to assist short sales and to prevent foreclosures and to move inventory. We call it shadow inventory. There's about 13,000 properties as of August, September 2012. They're in some fashion facing foreclosure in the Charleston Tri-County market. So if you imagine, if you take the hundreds of markets throughout the nation and add that up, there are literally millions of properties on and off the market that's shadow inventory. So what some banks are doing, Bank of America for one, Wells Fargo, Citi, Chase also have programs. Many of the major banks either have the HAFA, Home Affordable Foreclosure Alternative Program, which generally offers you $3,000 if you qualify and it's a primary residence. And now there's new programs like at Bank of America called, for the most part, co-op short sales. And depending on the price range, the area, and the terms of the short sale, they're offering between $2,500 at a minimum to $30,000 in relocation assistance. So if you look at the nature of those deals, those are really exciting because now people who have been in hardships, facing foreclosure, having a difficult time unloading a property, and not sure how their credit or their overall circumstances are going to be affected in the long run, now have a couple of assurances if you qualify for these programs. I try to get people working with me pre-qualified early or in advance to determine what might work. So generally in the co-op and HAFA short sales, in almost all cases, if you qualify, you would get a complete release from all mortgage deficiency, meaning that anything you owe would be canceled, other than the sales price, of course, which would come from the transaction. The second important thing is at closing you would actually receive some money. And thirdly, if in most cases people are missing their payments, you get to live in the home for free until the transaction is finalized. Now with HAFA short sales, government forced short sales, they have to be primary residences, but many of the new programs, it doesn't matter if it's a vacant home, a second home, a rental property, or a primary residence. So that's a little tidbit about the relocation assistance that's now available in the short sale programs. We talk more about this on the program Saturday mornings at 8 a.m. on WTMA. Now, how does your credit get affected? What does this mean? Well, generally, when you do a short sale, the worst part of a short sale isn't the short sale itself. It never really shows up on your credit report and says the word short sale. It just says debt settled for less than the amount owed. What that means is that you've basically settled. It's like a credit card that you may settled, or a car loan you settled, or a student loan, or anything that you settled. It shows up the same as a short sale. It's not the actual short sale that really hurts your credit. That's more about mortgages. It's the missed payments, going 30 days or 60 days or 90 days delinquent multiple times is what really kills your credit. And that process hurts your credit from between 50 to 200 points depending on compensating factors. After about a year, if you continue with credit cards and other car loans or other payments that are reporting to your credit bureau, that will supersede the bad credit of a mortgage that you've closed in a short sale, and generally your credit improves quite nicely after about 12 months. The real factor in a short sale that's to consider is in the future for lending again. If you are delinquent at the time of a short sale, almost every mortgage product and program out there in the market today will require you to wait on the sidelines and be a renter for about 3 years or more before they'll qualify and approve you for a new loan. If you happen to be fortunate enough to do a short sale while not missing payments, which is tough to do, you qualify again in 2 years. So for the sake of getting a mortgage, a short sale is treated like a foreclosure, but it's much better on your credit because it puts a definitive end to the problem in most cases. Now, how long should a short sale take? Well, it depends on who you hire as a listing agent. And one of the things I don't think a lot of people understand is that listing agents in the market that do a lot of short sales are known as short sale negotiators or not. And so that affects whether the property has a good potential of selling or not, or sitting on the market for a long time. If it's perceived the listing agent doesn't know how to do or handle the short sale, then it's likely that many people will stay away from bringing their buyer to the property, or the buyer themselves may not be comfortable with it. The second factor is that it really depends on the banking programs. The bigger banks, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citi, and Chase, are generally taking between a low of 25 days in best case scenarios to as much as 90 days. The average short sale that I'm doing these days is probably 60 to 70 days, and every year that number comes down by about 10 days. So they're getting a little better at it, although completely unacceptable as to where they are right now. So a short sale from the time you list the property with a good short sale listing agent and negotiator to the time you close and hand the keys to a new buyer and hopefully get a release of your deficiency debt is usually a 4 to 7 month process if handled absolutely appropriately. The final question, will I get released from my remaining debt? And that's the first and foremost question that most people ask. And what I have found is, by the percentages in the short sales I do, about 75% of people now are getting a full release, and about another 10 to 15% are able to settle at the table, meaning that they bring, for instance, I had a Wells Fargo short sale recently where $8,000 settled a $250,000 debt. I had a sale about a year ago where there was a $200,000 debt settled for $50,000. Those are the extremes, but they happen every now and then. But in most cases, people have Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, VA loans. That's the majority of the loans out there being processed in the short sale arena now, a few exceptions. And most of those are providing a release so long as we can prove that you have a hardship. So if you have a hardship, you have a much better chance of getting a release. Now, if you're with a credit union or a small local bank, or your mama does mortgages or something like that, you know, some of these local yokel types of institutions, they can be a real challenge to deal with. And so usually I engage the services of an attorney along with our team to assist people in dealing with that animal, if you will. So the answer is, most of the time you get a release, but you have to tackle that as part of the packaging process of the short sale, and that's what our team works to do. So if you want to learn more about these, we talk about it frequently. We put information on our website. Follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/Bryan Crabtree, that's Bryan with a Y, or simply tune in. We're on iHeartRadio, WTMA.com, and live on the radio, 12:50 a.m. WTMA, Saturday mornings.